Right, brace yourself everybody, we're in for a long one, but you will see why. If you're subscribed to F1 TV, take yourself a look at the 2019 Spanish Grand Prix. 1 hour 38 onwards, and you'll be able to see this, you'll be able to see the video footage which I can't use, hence I've had to take screenshots which I'm now going to show you. So what happens on lap 46 of the race, which is actually lap 45 for these two cars off the track. There's Lance Stroll in the Racing Point and Lando Norris in the orange McLaren. They collide at turn 2. Lando Norris tries to get back on track, but in doing so, he drags a load of gravel over the track at turn 3 and goes all the way to the other side of the track, still leaving gravel on track, but then realises he's got to retire his car. So immediately it's yellow flags in sector 1, and then they deploy the safety car pretty much straight away, and you see the notification on the screen: drivers to follow safety car, no overtaking. These are the standard messages you're going to see on the screen. Now at this point in time, Lewis Hamilton is leading the race. He's just under a third of his way around lap 46. I will show you this on track view in a second. So this then is Charles Leclerc coming through that incident, and you will see they have got the camera on that turn. You can see clearly, look at the state of the track. There is on the inside of the corner the gravel, and then on the outside just off the racing line there's the gravel here as well. Okay, now this is the literally half a second later, but just to show you, because the graphic changes between safety car and what lap number you're on, so therefore it shows you lap 47. So they're on lap 47, they've shown us that. Lap 48, a close-up of the safety car coming past that corner. You can clearly see what the problem is. You can clearly see that debris on the track, which is going to cause a problem to racing. Lap 48. Lap 49, they show us the safety car train coming by that incident. You can see on the inside of the track the gravel, you can see on the outside of the track the gravel. Okay, they are showing us what the problem is and how long this is taking. What you can see in the background now on lap 49 is the fact that a crane has been on track and has picked up the Racing Point, the pink car there, behind this orange kind of padded barrier. You can see, I'm trying to wave my cursor, hopefully you can see where I'm at. That's where the crane is, having taken the car off track. That's what the marshals are dealing with. They're dealing with getting that vehicle off the track, and once that's done, and then the safety car has collected all the cars, leaving a window of opportunity to work on the track, then marshals will then start working on clearing the track. Standard. It then cuts to FIA race control, and our friend Michael MASI. Here he is, look, here's Michael. You know, this guy that's under pressure because he's just in this office on his own, having all these team principals on the radio to him, putting him under so much pressure. Or is this a air-conditioned office with at least 10 people in there? I'll show you the next slide, because what they do, if you look at this, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 on the back row. There's another seat there that's not occupied at the moment, but there's 5 men on the back row. 1, 2, this is the arm of somebody that's behind this little banner here. 3, this guy 4, and another head 5. There are at least 10 people in this room. FIA race control. FIA race control. At least 10 people. And they try and claim it's just poor old Michael Massey just panicked because he was under pressure from Christian Horner or Jonathan Wheatley on the radio telling him that they just had to get them 5 cars out of the way, then they'd have a race on their hands. That's what race control looks like. It's not how they make it out to be. It's not just Michael Massey under all this stress from all these teams that are trying to get in touch with him. There's lots of people there that can deal with that. They'll claim they've all got different roles. You manage that. There's enough people there to manage that situation. Then what do we see? F1 TV. These pictures are courtesy of F1 TV and they are shown to the world live. Lap 49, we see the marshals clearing that gravel away from the inside of the track, making that track safe to go racing again. Lap 50, we cut to it again. The marshals clearing the gravel on the outside of the track. They're on the way off the track at the moment, because if you look right at the top of the screen, you will see coming into view one of the cars. Okay, so the next one, which is also lap 50, you will see the safety car over here behind this graphic, and then you've got Lewis Hamilton. So these guys are quickly departing the track so that they're not on the track as this safety car train goes by. And here goes by the safety car train. The guys are stood by the track, still waiting to clear that remaining gravel off the track. So that's lap 50. This is still lap 50, it's the same lap, but it shows you right at the top there, lap 50. Bearing in mind, the crash took place on lap 46. It's taken until lap 50 to clear it. The car did not catch fire. They didn't have to use fire extinguishers and then clear up the powder created by that fire extinguisher. So, further around lap 50. Them marshals must at that point have said, yes, we've fully swept this gravel off the track. The clerk of the course would have inspected it. He's then passed the message back to race control to say the track is now safe. So, race control give the message, lapped cars may now overtake. And there are the list of cars that can overtake. 8 cars in that list with the numbers given. 8 cars. There are 8 cars in that race that had been lapped. No confusion. Not just 5 of 8. All 8 of 8. Okay? Any meaning all. And then, let's just go back to that one. Lap 50. Lapped cars may overtake. Which means if they all get passed on lap 50, lap 51 can be that mandatory safety car lap. Lap 52, they can go racing again. That's what the rules state. But what happens? Lap 52, they're on lap 52, and that's when the message comes that the safety car is coming in at the end of lap 52. What's going on there then? Safety car in this lap. Race control, safety car in this lap. Hazard is now clear. Racing to resume at the end of the lap. I'm looking at these banners across the top of the screen. These are what we see. We never once saw the banner, lapped cars will not be allowed to overtake, because that is not an authentic banner. It never has been. So I am going to play you through the audio and data view and tracker view, because that shouldn't be blocked on copyright. But just to set the scene, just so that you're in the picture about what's going on. Lap 46, the lap of the incident and the lap on which the safety car is deployed. This is the data view screen. Now, I will just effectively flick to the next slide, which zooms it. If you look at data view, you can look at this column here. You can see Bottas has gone in the pits, and you go down here, and this column here is the distance behind the race leader. The next column is the margin in between each competitor. So, for example, Bottas is 8 seconds back from Hamilton. Leclerc is 23 seconds behind Bottas. Verstappen, 1.7 seconds behind Leclerc, and so on. We come down to 11th, Sainz, plus 1 lap. So this is 2019. This is data view in 2019. And it tells us Carlos Sainz plus 1 lap, which means Lewis Hamilton has lapped Carlos Sainz. Alex Albon in 10th, Lewis Hamilton has not lapped him yet. So although Sainz is trying to catch Albon, Sainz is only 13 seconds behind Albon. And actually Daniel Ricciardo is only 1.5 seconds behind Sainz. So both of them are actually trying to catch Albon. They're a lap down because the leader has come round and passed them, but he hasn't got past Albon yet. But they're still in a race for 10th position, a point scoring position. And just so that you can actually see where this is going, this is what happens at the end of the race. And I'm going to zoom this as well. You'll see if on data view down this part of the screen that I'm trying to run my cursor down, where this second set of pit stops occur, that's where pretty much everyone's pitted due to the safety car. So they've all dived in the pits for that cheap pit stop. But what happens is, from being a lap down, from having been lapped by Lewis Hamilton, Carlos Sainz ends up finishing 8th position. Alex Albon remains 11th. Well, he doesn't remain 11th, he gets relegated to 11th. He started off in 10th. So this is the end of the race, and you will hear what Martin Brundle says should be done with lapped cars. From being lapped, Carlos Sainz ends in a point scoring position, finishes 8th. He matters just in the same way that every single competitor in this race matters. Every single one of them has to be given the same sporting chance throughout that event in order to make that event valid. So this is tracker view, just at the point in time where the incident occurs. You'll see just past turn 1 is the orange dot of Norris. He's actually covering Stroll's pink dot. They collide around now, go off into this gravel where Perez's car is, and then Norris tries to rejoin the track here at the start of turn 3, dragging gravel all over the track there. Okay, that's what the incident is all about. Lewis Hamilton is here, just past turn 4, which is approximately a third of the way around this track in terms of distance, although there are 16 turns, so arguably you could say it's only a quarter of the way round. But if you look, Alex Albon, who across here is in 10th position at that time, is just up the road from Lewis, but just back here is Carlos Sainz in 11th. So Sainz will still be looking to try and catch Albon in the remainder of this race, but the leader has come by and he's passed Daniel Ricciardo in 12th. He's then passed Antonio it's Giovinazzi. He's been lapped twice. Then he's passed Sainz in 11th. And he's making his way around here, and he's on his way to lapping Albon in 10th. Okay, but just because these guys have been lapped, their race isn't over. They are still in a race for a point scoring position. They're still trying to track down Alex Albon for that 10th slot. So just to play you through some commentary so you can hear what's going on, it's Crofty and Brundle, the familiar faces.
And making his way
past
our commentary box. Lando Norris has gone off. Lance Stroll has gone off with him in the racing points, and I wonder if this means a safety car. Norris has managed to get back out on the track. There's a lot of gravel as he goes right across the track there. Bottas is ahead of Leclerc, just to let you know, after that pit stop.
A virtual safety car or a full safety car will give...
Just pausing it for copyright issues.
Give a cheap pit stop now to anybody.
Safety car's coming out, Martin.
So that plays into Hamilton's hands then, doesn't it?
Okay, so safety car is deployed. This, as I say, is lap 46. The incident occurred with Hamilton having completed around about a quarter to a third of lap 46. The safety car is deployed with around about a quarter to a third of the lap remaining. So I've now switched to data view because this is important. You'll see in the top corner it says lap 46 of 66. I'm going to play it through. You'll hear the commentary. I want you to look at what is going on with these numbers. Look at what is going on with the numbers.
No, I can't. Sorry, guys.
Kvyat has gone in the pits.
It might have been Lando Norris's fault, that incident, from the way he was speaking
has gone in
there.
the pits.
But the safety car now deployed.
Albon has gone in the pits.
The whole
he
field
is
up as through turn one.
I'll pause it there. Albon is the second Toro Rosso. Okay, they were Toro Rosso, but they're not AlphaTauri. So they've double stacked him, which has delayed Albon. All right.
When Lance Stroll and Lando Norris around the outside, and as he went into turn two,
Hamilton has gone in the pits. You can see what's going on. It's all working out on data view.
I think Stroll probably thought he would
look at the position changes there.
McLaren behind him.
Okay. Daniel Ricciardo's gone in the pit.
The race leader, and
Sainz has gone ahead of Albon.
Because he can come in and not
you can
lose
see
as
who's
much
pitting,
time
and you
in
can see which positions are changing.
Verstappen, for instance, Vettel, for instance, Bottas, for instance, Leclerc, of course, can now pit.
Okay, because Albon was held up in the pits, he's effectively gone behind Hamilton. They both went into the pits, but because Albon was held up, Hamilton exited the pits before Albon, and therefore it made Albon lapped. This is being displayed on data view. This was available all this time ago. Are you telling me race control don't have access to this? Utterly ridiculous. Okay, so
as
play
well,
a bit more.
But he's going to lose a place to Verstappen and to Vettel probably by making that pit stop. But they're all going to concertina together. And
Daniel Ricciardo moves down.
The two cars have been cleared away for the first time in Formula One. Lando Norris retires from a Grand Prix. Lance Stroll's 14.
So you can see what is happening as drivers are pitting. You can see that they've gone in the pits. It displays it on here. And you will see that it's based on the GPS of the car. It monitors where the cars are and when cars pass that location, and it changes their positions. It's quite simple. It's all automated.
14 race finishing streak ends today.
It's not a manual process of identifying the lapped cars. But Martin would tell us otherwise.
It certainly did. You mentioned there about kind of the legal battles and such. Like, how sad would you be to see this all decided at some point in a courtroom?
It would be terribly sad. And
wrong bit. This is the right bit.
And you know what? Even knowing who the lap cars are is not as straightforward as you might think, because you get a safety car situation and some cars pit, and that means they are then lapped, or the leader pits and unlaps some other cars. So it takes a certain amount of time to work out exactly who the lap runners are, where they are in the pack. But the fundamental point of that rule is to make sure that they don't get in the way of a great duel towards the end of a Grand Prix, and that certainly happened, didn't it?
We'll see what the fundamental point of that rule is, Martin, because you're going to lie during the Spanish Grand Prix too. But you lied there about how difficult it is to identify who's been lapped and who hasn't. It's pretty certain what that situation is, isn't it? You know, the fact that data view is clearly showing what it is real time. So I've switched back to tracker view, and it will just show you what happens as the car's concertina up.
Ends today. Into the pits now comes Charles Leclerc, medium tyres going on.
Okay, so we're on lap 47. Lewis Hamilton is travelling behind the safety car. You'll see Alex Albon, who's been lapped now, is in 11th, and he has to wait behind Lewis Hamilton. They're at turn 10. Because all the other cars have gone into the pits and come back out again, it will take a time for them to bunch up behind. You're going to hear a radio message from Lewis Hamilton, and then you're going to hear what Martin Brundle says about that.
Behind the wheel.
There's a lot of gravel there.
There's a lot of gravel there. We've heard that sort of thing from Lewis before.
Yeah, copy.
Nicely on
Safety
cue.
car's going way too slow.
The safety car's going way too slow. Where did we hear that? That was heard in Abu Dhabi as well. What does Martin say?
Yeah, but Bernd Mailander will think he's throwing that V8 engine Mercedes into the corners, but Hamilton...
He's slow though. It is slow today, the safety car. He's trying to collect the field up.
Yeah.
Brundle, it is slow today. He's trying to collect the field up. It's not... oh, this is awful for Lewis. Those tyres can't get enough heat into them tyres. Different narrative today, Brundle. Completely different narrative today. So, safety car train is going to come down the start, finish straight, and begin lap 48. Crofty has got something to say.
Behind him, it might take a while to clear the gravel here, to let the lapped cars past as well. Ricardo, Perez, Hulkenberg, Raikkonen and Giovinazzi all a lap down.
Now remind Lewis he's got to stay within 10 car lengths of the...
So you stress the importance of letting the lapped cars by them then, and you tell us that it might take a while. So, Brundle now describes what is happening at turn 3, where the incident was. Unlike turn 14 Abu Dhabi, where he says, well, are they even getting a vehicle on the track to get that car taken away? Is there any more debris on the track? How long will they wait? You know, because he doesn't know, because he can't tell us that. It's all speculation. Is this going to happen? Is that going to happen? What does he say about turn 3?
They can get through, as you can see. They've got their own goat track going through there now, but that gravel to our left on the inside of turn 3 is not ideally placed at all.
No, that caused when Lando Norris tried to get back onto the track and limp around.
So, did you hear anything like this in Abu Dhabi?
So who does this bring into play for various reasons? The mix-up at Toro Rosso has kept Fiat in the points, but Albon now out of it. Sainz is up into 10th. Hulkenberg, who started from the pit lane, now at 12th.
Another chance. Thinking about...
So, you're concerned about what positions the other drivers might be in this race and who may be challenging for what position, Crofty? Is that what you're doing? Didn't hear any of that in Abu Dhabi. And Crofty carries on.
Yeah, Hulkenberg's on the soft tyre. He might be a bit racy at the end of this as well. Ricardo behind him will be hoping to get into the points.
Oh, not necessarily. There's Sebastian there.
So he's talking about Daniel Ricciardo in 13th. We'll be hoping to get into the points. Rather bizarre, isn't it? Because there was no regard whatsoever for Lando Norris in 7th and his ability to challenge for 6th. There was no regard whatsoever for Daniel Ricciardo in 12th and his ability to challenge for a top 10 in Abu Dhabi. Nothing of the sort. Them guys were cheated. They were artificially held back from being able to challenge for valid positions in that race. No mention of it. So, some more gushing praise from Crofty. Let's hear what Crofty's got to say.
Michael Massey, the FIA race director until the summer break at the very least, and doing a fine job so far this season, and taking over, of course, in tragic circumstances after the death of Charlie Whiting prior to the Australian Grand Prix. And Lance Stroll, not been a good weekend for him at all.
So they'll be coming down the start-finish straight soon to start lap 50, and listen to what Brundle and Crofty are saying.
Of the queue, Bottas has got to be at least 6 down. Vettel and Leclerc.
So at least 6 down, you mean actually there's 4 lapped cars in between Hamilton and Bottas, in between 1st and 2nd. Okay.
8 or 9 cars down in the queue, maybe 10 cars down in the...
So what you're saying is Verstappen is behind Bottas, but then there's another lapped car here, Russell, in between Vettel and Verstappen. So you're talking about these lap runners that are down here, because you're saying he's 8 or 9 down in the queue. Strange that you're identifying all of these lapped cars in the running order and how they're impacting all of the competitors in the race.
Well, I mean, they're going to have to release the lapped runners and riders out of this queue before we can get going again. The thing is, when we have the restart,
so just think about rear brake temperatures. Front calipers are getting quite warm. The rear brakes are stone cold.
It's been stamping on those brakes behind the safety car. But when we get going again, Hamilton, Bottas, Verstappen and Leclerc all are going to be on tyres, Martin, very similar in age. Sebastian Vettel, 6 laps older than those around him.
So we're talking about
Norris walks back.
We're talking about the top 5 now, and you're concerned about what might happen within those 5 competitors. I thought you were telling us it's all about the duel, Martin. I thought Formula 1 was all about a duel. That's what you were telling us in that little video I played of you. So, lap 50, the lapped cars are just about to be released. So here we go.
Faults. Now the lapped cars may overtake. And there are 1, 2, 3. Yes, okay.
Straight there with it, aren't you, Brundle? 8. Straight there with it. Okay? Simple. Simple. Let's just have a check on data view.
Nico Hulkenberg.
It's got it here. Okay. Albon, plus 1 lap. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 cars. Simple. You can identify them. Let's go back to here.
Alex Albon, Nico Hulkenberg, Daniel Ricciardo, Sergio Perez, Kimi Raikkonen, Antonio Giovinazzi, George Russell, Robert Kubica can all now...
So you're not just identifying the 4 lapped cars that were in between 1st and 2nd. You're actually listing all 8 of them. Okay.
Overtake. Now, whether they are going to be allowed to catch up to the back, I'm not quite sure.
Well, that's going to sort the restart order out nicely for us, isn't it?
There you go then. Is that the purpose? That is going to sort the restart order out nicely, isn't it? I thought it was just so that they didn't interfere with the race between the leaders and deny us a duel.
That they've elected to do that.
Well, this is why they brought this rule in. The lap cars can overtake just to get out of the way of those.
So here comes the lies. They brought this rule in. This rule has been a long-standing rule. about releasing the lapped cars. It's for sporting fairness, to enable sporting fairness to every single competitor in that race. Because, as I've explained earlier, just because you may have been lapped by the lead car does not mean that you are not still in a race with those competitors around you. So, earlier, just because Hamilton had made it past Sainz, it didn't mean that Sainz was no longer eligible to challenge Albon. He is still in that race. You can't deny him that opportunity. So if you don't release him, but Albon, who at that stage hadn't been lapped, was allowed to disappear around the track, you've enabled a competitor to gain effectively a lap on somebody artificially. You cannot allow a safety incident to enable that scenario. It is very simple, but these two are gaslighting and lying to the worldwide audience again, but it's done for a purpose. It is done for entertainment and spicing it up. And they are, again, now that Charlie Whiting is not there to correct them, they can get away with it.
Who's on the lead lap fighting for position so that the back markers don't get in the way of the restart.
It's one of Charlie Whiting's, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Concepts.
It's one of Charlie Whiting's concepts, but he's not there to explain what the real reason is, so you can get away with giving it your bullshit. Okay? And it's nothing to do with not getting in the way. They're all still racing. They're all still racing for position. And Michael MASI knows that, and this will categorically demonstrate it.
It can get a bit frustrating on a very long lap sometimes. There they are, the 8 that were allowed through, and that's, it's going to give us a nice clean restart. It's not mandatory, it's not absolutely certain, depends on weather conditions and the stage of the race that you're at, but it seemed a sensible.
Lies. Now, you keep telling us that the rules are 100 pages thick and they're backed up by the sporting code that's this thick as well, Martin. And you need to read every single one of them words because they're like a legal document. I remember you telling us that, Martin. We've read the safety car rules now. Since Abu Dhabi, many of us have read them. There's no mention of weather. There's no mention of at what stage during the race that an incident occurs would dictate a different version of the safety car rules. Nothing to do with that. They are what they are. That's what they are. Don't lie. You're lying to people.
Decision right now, didn't it? Because that's energised this race beautifully.
It's the concept absolutely.
Oh, the concept of a safety car energising a race.
Spot on. I'm with you. And you've said it many times over the years. It's a shame they can't just drop back rather than overtaking and going round again. But until they...
You can't just drop these cars back. You'll leave them a lap behind. And even if you actually cancelled the notion of them being left a lap behind, which is against sporting fairness, even if you said, rather than make them catch the back of the pack, instead we'll claim that they're still effectively on the same lap, but we'll make them drop back through the pack so that we get the correct order, what you've done is those cars that will have dropped back will have used one lap less of fuel, they'll have used their tyres for one less lap. Hence, they could potentially push harder, giving them an unfair advantage. You artificially skew it. It's not a valid possibility. That's why the rules have been devised the way they've been devised. That's why they were always operated in that way. That's why there's no ambiguity. And funnily enough, since Abu Dhabi and the FIA have clarified what the safety car rules are, they've changed a word, but what's changed? Nothing. They are what they always were. There's a reason. It's called sporting fairness to every single competitor in that race. For all the reasons that I give.
But until they sort out a way for the timing screens to update so that...
Yeah, because we just lose another lap or two, especially, as I say, on a long lap like Spa, for example. It gets a little bit tedious, but we'll take it for now. But if they drop to the back of the field, they're a lap down anyway, then they can stay a lap down.
So it gives us the lies. Firstly, about the timing screens. You've seen then timing screens updating real time. You've told us about, a long lap like Spa. Nothing to do with it. Gaslighting. You've now come up with the notion, in my opinion, I think it would be better if they just drop back a lap. Drop to the back of the pack. And if they are a lap down, they stay a lap down. So you're saying that once you've been lapped, your race is over. Well, Carlos Sainz was lapped. He finished 8th. He was in 11th position at the time of the incident. He finished 8th. His race shouldn't be over. He's competing for points, for World Championship points. Stop coming out with lies and ridiculous opinions. They're opinions that are in no way valid. It is obscene. So let's be clear. We are now on lap 51. The lapped cars, Albon, Hulkenberg, Ricciardo, Perez, Russell, Raikkonen, Kubica and Giovinazzi, they've been released. So this is the mandatory safety car lap. So when Hamilton gets round to here, we can start racing again. So this is the end of lap 51. And what we would normally see if we're going to restart is them travelling really slowly and the leader then wanting to take off and start that race again. But the released lapped cars of Albon and the rest of them that are coming back here, and the final two are at turn 8. They haven't caught the back of the pack yet. So what does our race director do? Well, is it 15.3? Does he exercise his discretionary use of the safety car by keeping that safety car out there for a further lap to ensure sporting fairness to every competitor in that race? Let's have a look. Let's have a look.
Be able to go for it. Safety car goes round again because we've got to wait for the lap runners to catch the pack.
Yeah.
Safety car's got to go round again because we've got to wait for the lap runners to catch the pack, Brundle. Because normally we get, how long will they wait? Dear me, it's like it's a different person. It's like somebody that knows the rules or somebody that pretends they don't know the rules. Bizarre.
I think as long as you let them go by half a lap, you could get on with it. But anyway, got another lap now, but I think Verstappen will be the man under pressure from the Ferraris.
But don't forget the two Ferraris as well, Martin, could also be under pressure from Pierre Gasly behind them.
Oh, we're talking about 4th and 5th being under pressure from 6th as well. Oh, we're talking about all the competitors in the race and how their chances are being impacted. That's a new one.
Gasly's on the soft compound tyre. The two Ferraris are on the mediums. Could Gasly...
Oh, so somebody in 6th is on a soft compound tyre and they might be challenging the cars ahead. Might that have been happening in Abu Dhabi as well? We didn't hear any of that, did we? Didn't hear any of that.
With those racier, grippier tyres, be putting a challenge into the Ferraris as well. This could be a mega restart when we finally get it going. Karun, down to you. Safety cars coming in at the end of this lap.
Okay, then just a quick one. Martin.
There we go. Safety car will be coming in at the end of this lap. 2 laps after the lap on which those lapped cars were released. That is the safety car rule. That is the purpose of the safety car rule. 1 lap is mandatory, but if they haven't caught the back of the pack, The race director has it within its discretion to ensure sporting fairness to all competitors. Now I just want to clarify the terms on which the lapped cars can be released, because we get comments from trolls, from fools who don't know what they're doing, from fools who know nothing about the sport but like to tell us what they do know or what they think they know in the comment section. Some of them people have made 600, 700 comments on my channel so far. I'm keeping a nice count. Thankfully, YouTube does that for me. They seem to think that you can release the lapped cars at any time you want. And I say no, you can't. If there's marshals on the track, you can't. It's called health and safety. But let's go through Alex Albon, who is that lapped car, the first of the lapped cars that gets released. Here's a little video I made just to show you. Here we go. Okay, this is the onboard shot of Alex Albon. He's just been told that as a lapped car, he's now been released. He's allowed to overtake. So I'm going to just slide this forward. You'll see him overtake Lewis, then the safety car, and I'll chunk it around the track till we get to around about turn 2, which is the location of where the Stroll-Norris accident was, and where at turn 3 all of the gravel was strewn over the track. And you will see that there are no marshals on track. The marshals are clear of the track before the lapped cars are released. So here goes. So you'll see him. He'll pass Hamilton anytime now. There you go. Pass Hamilton. Pass the safety car. I'm just going to chunk this through 10 seconds. Start, finish straight. So this is the end of the start, finish straight. So I'm going to slide this through. Turn 1, turn 2, and this is where it is. I'm going to go frame by frame through here. This is where the gravel was on the track. Where are the marshals? You don't see them marshals because they're clear of the track, and that is why the clerk of the course has declared that part of the track to be safe. There's nobody there, and that is why the order then gets given for those cars to be released. That's how it works. The ginger guy and his clan in this clip remind me of little trolls. It's quite an apt clip.
Rich, Ron, the Richardsons were unexpectedly engaged, so we're going to look after you.
Oh, it's all right. Our landlord's going to change the barrel for me, thanks. You don't mind if I pour myself a pint, yeah?
What is that?
Yeah, what do you think, Puff? It's a fucking tool.
No, it's not. It's a fucking rolling pin. Who are you, Fanny Craddock? What are you going to do with that? You going to bake me a cake? You going to sing me a song, watch me blow out me fucking candles? I come here for a fucking shootout, right? A proper shootout with some proper men. Like Colonel Custer and Geronimo. Have you ever heard of them? No. Because you were too busy in your penny baking fucking fairy cakes, weren't you? Rich, this lot of fucking nonsense to a man. They're fucking nonsense. Get out your fucking way. Go on, get up. Go on, fuck off. Call yourself a fucking gangster. A shootout, right, is a fucking shootout! Like a western. Wankers. Fucking embarrassing. Wasting my time. Fucking waste of my time.
Oh, your brother's done a runner.
Nah, he's just genuinely disappointed with you, that's all. Look at that. Full of iron, that is. It takes a while, that does, you know, to settle.
So, yeah, some of you in the comment section need to settle yourself down, really. But you'll be pleased to know that Lewis Hamilton won. There's a lot of similarities between Spain 2019 and Abu Dhabi 2021. There's also a lot of differences. Strange that.